Okay.
Okay, so our fear was the idea of there not being any life on any other planet or on the universe, and that would be we would be completely alone. And we was really thinking about what if there's nothing else and we were the only people, and that would mean, like, for example, if the population grew, that there would be no place to go, and that maybe our technology wouldn't allow us to see any further, since the galaxy is, well, the universe is huge. We started researching our topic to find out exactly what has been found on other planets, because we have heard a lot of rumors about, like, Mars and water being on Mars and plants growing on Mars. But, like, as art students, did we or do we know enough about space or anything outside of Earth? And I don't think we thought that we really knew that much, so we researched a lot. What did we find while researching? A month ago, I don't know, most of you probably heard about this, that scientists found gravitational waves that were first proven learned about by Einstein, but they were actually detected. So the gravitational waves are ripples in the space-time, and they allow scientists to explore objects and phenomena that are warped by space-time, like black holes, which is pretty cool. We kept researching, found out that there's actually a lot going on in space in 2016. The WIYN building, which is an exoplanet hunter, sounds pretty cool, that measures stars back and forth movement caused by a gravitational pull of an orbiting planet. And also a few months ago, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, team discovered an exoplanet named Europa, which has, quote, an enormous volume of liquid water and geological activity that could promote the exchange of useful chemicals from its surface.
That was already known.
Yeah, this part, like, they found
the chemical substance.
Yeah, the substance. So NASA claimed that this would be the closest habitable planet to Earth right now.
Could there be life similar to our own on other planets? Could their intellect have reached a scientific level far above man's dreams? What then will the future reveal? If this story you are about to witness is only the beginning.
What we want is a world that can support complex life.
This is an enormous tsunami of planets.
It means that there are thousands of millions of Earth-like worlds just in our galaxy.
I asked my astronomy colleagues, what does it mean to be an Earth-like planet? It really suggests that we will one day find life, if we know how to look for it.
Is it a trailer?
No, it's from a documentary.
Okay. What's the documentary called?
The Next Planet.
Maybe share on Facebook.
Yeah. So on Thursday, March 31st, 2016, a few days ago, the NASA Hubble Space Telescope received a signal from Europa, actually. This was the signal. And they discovered that it was a unique magnetic wavelength that emitted from its inner core. And NASA scientists discovered that these signals were similar to the wavelengths from Earth, which means that the core provides the same geological activity as on Earth, allowing the chemicals to react as they would on Earth. Vanessa continued researching Europa and followed NASA's website. If you guys want to have a look at that, that kept people up to date on their findings.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in Europa. I started researching all these astronauts online, and last week I looked at their blog, and they posted that there was an open day at the European Space Agency in Amsterdam last week, and I went there because it's actually a place where people can go to join space leisure and not with a scientific purpose, so you don't need to have a background with that. You're just free to go there. And I went there, and it's in Noordwijk, and I got to meet director Johan Dietrich Warner. He was showing visitors a tank where astronauts are getting trained to get used to the feeling of zero gravity. And it's a water tank, and that really works. Almost the same as it does in space. The director invited some of the visitors to the spacecraft that was launching that afternoon. And as I was entering it, we were told that we were actually launching. So that we would go in space for a month, free, just for some kind of experiment. And of course, I wasn't doubting. I said, yes, of course, I'm going. And so we'd actually go into space and for an experiment, and yeah, I had no doubt. I went. And being in space, well, I can tell you, it's unlike any feeling you would ever have on Earth. It's amazing. It's like you're floating in water, and your belly is totally full of air, and not one tiny little bit of air could fit in more. You would snap. And you look at your home planet fading away, just farther and farther into the great nothingness, and you feel so small. It's like you're being ripped of yourself, partly, because it's your home you're looking at, and it's just going, it's gone, and it's keep going. It feels like it's one of the biggest dreams ever come true, but also the biggest nightmare ever. I think it's both. It's really extraordinary. Our goal was actually first to land on Europa, but a few days later our ship was hit by 2 meteors. And it made the ship race into a very unplanned direction, very, very, very fast. And I was told to duck into a cryostat chamber. You can survive in that place for a very long time on a very cold temperature. And it can survive dramatic impacts. So I was told to duck in there in case of a huge emergency, so I would survive. This is how it looks like. It's not what I've been in, but it looks like it, so you have an idea how it works. I noticed that the air pressure was acting very weird. My ears were, that I felt like I was being sucked or squeezed in. The pressure was very, very, very high. And like what happens when you swim to the bottom of a swimming pool, that pressure in your ear. And I noticed that the feeling I got, that it should be something very high pressure. It should be a black hole or something. I wasn't believing it. It could be. And as I was swallowing more, I noticed I couldn't see anything straightforward. Everything around me was gone. It was just me in the chamber of the cryostat chamber. I could see the whole space, and the only thing I could see was black and flaring light flares around me, and just getting sucked into that. And at a certain moment, the ship, the chamber, started to race behind the light flares, like it was racing beyond them, like I was feeling like I was moving faster than light. And the most extraordinary thing was that I then heard some weird gurgling sound, and then everything was gone. I didn't feel anything, I didn't feel the ship. And then when I rose, I was not in a ship. I was on something else. I first thought I was dead because I didn't feel the ship, but then I felt ground. And I felt air and temperature, warmth. And I was on a planet. And when I rose, my eyes, they couldn't see much. It was really blurred and I couldn't keep balance. I couldn't see the horizon. But then after a long while, I noticed that I was being watched by an immense, huge field of all those chunky, weird creatures. And those creatures, they are shaping themselves. They're designing themselves. So their shape is not set like we have. They can malleable bodies and they can shape their own beauty, and there's no differences in what's beauty and what's ugly. They design their own beauty and texture even. And they have a very warm, pleasant eyes, and they have no mouth. It was the most extraordinary thing. So I don't know how they eat or how they talk. Well, they talked a bit with imitating, like personating, like imitating the other creature. And the planet itself, it's with shining rocks and lightning sand. This is what it can look like. I don't have pictures of it, I only have made drawings. This is what it looks like. The days on the planet are very rare. The sun goes down about 40 times a day because the spinning of the planet goes very fast. And there are two great rings around the planet, which I think make sure that the atmosphere is habitable and great enough to live. And the weirdest thing about this planet I want to say is it's called shy, because to me from the distance of the planet it looks like they have some weird high peak mountains that you could see from a distance. You could not imagine how high it is. I don't even know. And that's what I draw when I came back, because if it wasn't for the creatures, I would never be able to come back. And that was my story. I now let fish tell the goal for the future and helping people to go to space and how we can connect to other planets.
So now that we know that there are harmless creatures in this planet that Vanessa just talked about, and our proposal is that you all volunteer to go to this planet. And yeah, people might chuckle at the thought of our students going to the planet, but I want to quote what Benedict Cumberbatch says in his movie The Imitation Game. He says, "Sometimes it is the people who no one imagines anything of who do the things that no one can imagine." So, I think it's like Vanessa went there and she drew the pictures because you couldn't use a camera there. So that's really useful to just record things that you see. And I really think that it's a good opportunity for us because we won't be overwhelmed by this unimaginative world. Like no one could have imagined that people can just form themselves out of what they find on the ground. And the headquarters of this organization, like Vanessa said, is in Amsterdam. So it's not that far away, and yeah, you'll be your medical background, your BMI, your tendencies, your body tendencies would be checked, but you will also be interviewed, and the interview will consist of key questions that test your trustworthiness, your adaptability, and your resilience. Yeah, so I think it's very different. Like it's not necessary. It's not necessary that you need to be an astronaut. You need to be extremely adaptable, and they're very different criteria. The questions weren't disclosed by the headquarters, but it's definitely different. And all you need to do is be mentally able and mentally valuable to go up there and adjust to whatever comes your way. Yeah. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. sorry, wouldn't you have to be like physically fit as well?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No.
Uh,
Just mentally fit.
okay.